Good evening, everyone. I want you to take a deep breath and really feel this moment because the truth is where you are today is not where you were meant to stay. You have dreams, desires, and a purpose that's bigger than what you see in front of you right now. But here's the thing, nothing happens until you make it happen. You can talk about your goals, you can pray about your future, but there is one thing you must understand. You have to force yourself to take action. Yes, I said it. Force yourself. There are days when you feel motivated and there are days when you feel like giving up, but it's the action you take, regardless of how you feel, that will define your success. Let's stop waiting for the right moment, for the perfect conditions. Those things may never come. You are the change you're waiting for. Today is the day you take action, even when it feels hard, even when it feels uncomfortable, because you are more than capable of making it happen. Are you ready to push past the doubts and take that step toward your destiny? Let's talk about how to make it happen. There are moments in life when you stand at the crossroads of your dreams and your fears. You want something more, something greater, but the uncertainty of the path ahead makes you hesitant. It's easy to stay in your comfort zone, to remain where everything feels safe, familiar, and predictable. But here's the hard truth. Nothing extraordinary happens in the comfort zone. The life you desire, the success you dream about, and the legacy you want to leave behind are all waiting for you outside of the safety of your current situation. So why is it that we often resist stepping out of our comfort zones? Why do we choose familiarity over possibility and certainty over growth? The answer lies in the simple truth that our minds are wired to seek comfort. This is a natural instinct. As human beings, we are designed to avoid pain, stress, and discomfort. It's easier to stay where we are because the unknown seems too daunting, too risky, and too uncertain. We convince ourselves that we need more time, more resources, or more knowledge before we take that leap into the unknown. But what we don't realize is that the real breakthrough doesn't come when we have everything figured out. It comes when we decide to take action, even without all the answers. Clarity doesn't come from waiting for everything to align perfectly. It doesn't arrive when you've mapped out every step of the journey. In fact, clarity often comes after you take that first step, even when you don't know exactly where it will lead. It's only by committing to the action that you begin to gain insight, direction, and confidence. The first step is always the hardest, but it's also the most important. Without it, you'll never move forward. Comfort can be a trap, one that disguises itself as security and peace, but comfort doesn't challenge you, it doesn't stretch you, and it certainly doesn't push you to become the person you were meant to be. Clarity, on the other hand, is something you gain through experience. It's through doing, through stepping into the unknown that you gain the understanding and perspective you need to continue. The beauty of clarity is that it's not something you find by waiting for the perfect circumstances. Instead, you create clarity by choosing to act in the face of uncertainty. When you prioritize comfort, you hold yourself back from realizing your true potential. You might have a vision of what you want your life to look like, but if you're constantly waiting for the ideal moment to take action, you'll miss the opportunity to grow. The longer you delay, the further away your goals will seem. Comfort convinces you that tomorrow will be a better time to start, but tomorrow always becomes next week, next month, or even next year. The only way to make progress is to move despite the discomfort, despite the fear, and despite the unknowns. So how do you push through that resistance to action? How do you move from a place of comfort to a place of clarity? First, you need to shift your mindset. Instead of seeing discomfort as something to avoid, view it as a signal that you're on the right path. Discomfort is often a sign that you're growing, that you're stretching yourself beyond what you've known. It's in those moments of discomfort that you'll discover new strengths, new abilities, and a deeper sense of purpose. Next, recognize that clarity is not something you achieve overnight. It's a process. It's the result of taking consistent, imperfect action. It's the willingness to make decisions and move forward even when you don't have all the answers. When you step out in faith, when you choose to act in spite of uncertainty, you begin to gain the clarity you seek. It's through action that you will uncover the path that was always meant for you. Additionally, remember that the desire for clarity can sometimes be a form of procrastination. When you're waiting for everything to be perfectly clear before taking action, you're avoiding the discomfort of moving into the unknown. Perfection is an illusion. The truth is, you don't need to know everything to start, you just need to begin. Even if you don't have the full picture, the small steps you take will guide you towards the larger vision. Sometimes clarity doesn't appear until you've taken action. So stop waiting for the perfect moment to act and instead trust that the clarity will come as you move forward. Another crucial part of embracing clarity over comfort is overcoming the fear of failure. Many people are paralyzed by the thought of failing. But here's the thing, failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is a part of success. Every successful person you admire has experienced failure at some point. What sets them apart is their willingness to fail forward, to learn from their mistakes, to adjust, and to keep going. When you choose comfort over action, you choose to avoid the risk of failure. But by doing so, you also avoid the lessons that come from failure, the growth that arises from stepping outside of your comfort zone. It's easy to get stuck in the cycle of overthinking, analyzing every possible outcome, and doubting your abilities. But the more you think about it, the more you hesitate, the more you stall your own progress. You may find yourself asking, what if it doesn't work out? Or what if I'm not ready? These questions are natural, but they shouldn't hold you back. The reality is you will never feel 100% ready. But when you act despite the uncertainty, you create your own momentum. The first step you take will give you the courage and insight to take the next step. And the more steps you take, the clearer your path becomes. The power of clarity lies in its ability to guide you, but it can only do so once you choose to act. When you take action, you're telling the universe, I am ready for growth. I am ready for change. The clarity you seek will come through your willingness to embrace discomfort, to push past the fear, and to move forward despite not having all the answers. This is the essence of progress. Remember, comfort will always be there, ready to welcome you back whenever you choose to stay stagnant. It will whisper in your ear, telling you that it's okay to rest, to wait, to hesitate. But true transformation happens when you push past that voice, when you choose the unknown over the familiar, the challenge over the ease, and the growth over the comfort. It's time to stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, the perfect clarity. The truth is, you don't need all the answers. What you need is the courage to take that first step, even if you don't know exactly where it will lead. By doing so, you will find that clarity is not a destination, it's a journey that unfolds with each step you take. So ask yourself, are you willing to trade your comfort for clarity? Are you ready to step into the unknown, to trust yourself enough to take action without waiting for everything to be perfect? The moment you make that choice, you will begin to see the possibilities that lie ahead. You will discover that your dreams are not as far out of reach as you once thought, and that the life you want is already waiting for you on the other side of your comfort zone. Choose clarity, choose action, and watch as your life begins to transform in ways you never imagined.
There's something incredibly powerful about motivation. It can feel electrifying, that rush of energy that comes when you're fired up about a new idea, a new goal, or a new vision for your life. You feel unstoppable, like you could conquer the world. But here's the thing about motivation. It's fleeting, it comes and goes, sometimes without warning, and often at the most inconvenient times. What do you do when the motivation fades? What happens when you wake up one day and that spark of inspiration is nowhere to be found? This is where the real difference lies between those who achieve their dreams and those who fall short. Discipline. Motivation is an emotion. It's driven by how you feel in a given moment. It can be influenced by external factors like a speech, a book, a success story, or a new environment. But because motivation is based on fleeting feelings, it's unreliable. It can get you started, but it's not enough to carry you through the difficult days when things aren't going according to plan. When motivation fades, you need something deeper to rely on, and that's where discipline comes in. Discipline is the commitment to show up, to do the work, even when you don't feel like it. It's not about being motivated every single day. It's about being consistent and doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. Discipline doesn't rely on inspiration or emotion. It's a decision to keep moving forward day after day, even when your energy is low, when things aren't working out, and when doubts start creeping in. Discipline is about sticking to your commitments, regardless of external circumstances or internal resistance. The truth is, if you rely solely on motivation, you will often find yourself stuck. Motivation alone can't help you build sustainable habits, push through the tough times, or accomplish long term goals. Motivation may get you started, but it's discipline that will get you across the finish line. You don't need to feel motivated every day to succeed. What you need is a disciplined approach to your goals, a commitment to showing up, doing the work, and sticking to the process. The beauty of discipline is that it doesn't require perfection. You don't have to do everything right all the time, but you do need to do something. Even on the days when you feel drained, discouraged, or overwhelmed, discipline pushes you to keep going. It's the understanding that small steps taken consistently will compound over time and lead to significant results. The most successful people are not the ones who feel inspired all the time. They're the ones who consistently show up day after day with the dedication to see their goals through. When you build discipline, you begin to form habits that support your long term success. These habits become automatic, part of your daily routine. They don't require you to muster up a burst of motivation every time you need to do something. They become ingrained in your way of life. The more disciplined you are, the easier it becomes to take action, even when motivation is nowhere to be found. This is the power of habits. They don't rely on fluctuating emotions, they simply are. They are the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. But how do you develop discipline, especially when it feels so hard to stay consistent? How do you make discipline a part of your life when motivation seems to be in short supply? The first step is to define your why. Motivation may come and go, but your why, the deeper purpose behind your actions, is what will keep you going when motivation wanes. When you are clear about why you are pursuing your goals, you can tap into a well of determination that will push you through the tough times. Your why will remind you of the bigger picture of the life you are working to create and the person you want to become. When you know why you are doing something, it becomes easier to stay disciplined and committed, even when the motivation to take action is absent. Once you've identified your why, it's important to establish a routine. A routine takes the guesswork out of the equation and ensures that you are consistently moving toward your goals, even when motivation is not there to fuel you. The routine should be simple but effective, focusing on the most important tasks that will move you forward. By incorporating these tasks into your daily or weekly schedule, you take away the need to constantly feel like doing them. Instead, they become non negotiable parts of your life. This is where discipline becomes automatic. You don't have to question whether or not you will work on your goals today, it's already a part of your routine. Another critical aspect of discipline is time management. Often people think they need motivation to complete tasks, but what they really need is the ability to manage their time effectively. Time management is a skill that allows you to prioritize what matters most and ensures that you're consistently making progress toward your goals. It involves setting clear deadlines, creating actionable steps, and sticking to a schedule that aligns with your objectives. When you develop strong time management skills, you can accomplish more without waiting for motivation to strike. Discipline also requires accountability. One of the most effective ways to build discipline is to have someone or something to hold you accountable. Whether it's a mentor, a coach, or even a close friend, having someone check in on your progress can make all the difference. Accountability keeps you honest and ensures that you stay on track. It's easy to let things slide when there's no one to report to, but when you know someone is expecting results from you, it creates a sense of responsibility that fuels discipline. Another key factor in building discipline is developing resilience. Discipline is not about never feeling tired or frustrated. It's about being able to push through those feelings and keep moving forward. There will be days when things don't go as planned, when obstacles arise, or when you feel like quitting. Discipline is the ability to persist in the face of challenges. It's about knowing that setbacks are a part of the journey, and instead of letting them derail you, you use them as learning opportunities to grow stronger. When you build resilience, you develop the mental toughness necessary to stay disciplined, even when things get tough. It's also important to recognize that discipline is not about perfection. It's not about being flawless in every task you take on or always doing things perfectly. Discipline is about doing what needs to be done, even if it's messy, imperfect, or difficult. It's about showing up every day, making progress, and trusting the process. You will make mistakes along the way. That's inevitable. But as long as you remain disciplined, those mistakes won't define you. They'll simply become stepping stones toward success. In the pursuit of discipline, you also need to focus on your mental and physical health. Discipline isn't just about working harder, it's about working smarter, taking care of yourself, and ensuring that you have the energy and focus to stay consistent. This means making time for rest, exercise, and self care so that you can maintain the stamina required to stay disciplined over the long term. A well rested mind and body will help you make better decisions, stay focused on your goals, and tackle challenges with greater resilience. Another key element of discipline is self compassion. While discipline requires consistency, it also requires the ability to forgive yourself when you slip up. No one is perfect, and there will be times when you fall short of your goals or miss a deadline. Instead of beating yourself up or using these moments as an excuse to quit, practice self compassion. Recognize that setbacks are a natural part of growth and use them as an opportunity to get back on track and keep moving forward. Self compassion allows you to maintain your discipline even during difficult times without letting negative self talk derail your progress. Ultimately, discipline is about developing a mindset that prioritizes progress over perfection, consistency over inspiration, and action over hesitation. When you cultivate discipline in your life, you shift from relying on external motivation to creating an internal drive that keeps you moving forward, regardless of how you feel. Motivation may help you start the journey, but discipline is what will carry you to the finish line. When you learn to prioritize discipline over motivation, you'll find that the path to success becomes clearer. You won't wait for the perfect moment or for the next burst of inspiration. Instead, you will take consistent, intentional action day in and day out until your goals are realized. You'll realize that success doesn't happen because you're always motivated. It happens because you stay disciplined, even when motivation wasn't there. Discipline is the foundation of success. It's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And when you build that bridge step by step with consistency and commitment, you will cross over to the other side and find yourself exactly where you always dreamed of being.
When it comes to achieving anything worthwhile in life, there's a powerful truth that often gets overlooked. It's not the giant leaps or the sudden bursts of progress that make the difference. It's the small, consistent steps that lead to lasting change. This concept can seem deceptively simple, and many people overlook it because they are so focused on making dramatic, immediate improvements. We live in a world that values instant results, where we're told to expect quick transformations, fast results, and rapid success. Yet the reality of lasting growth and sustainable progress is rooted in the smaller actions we take every single day. We've all heard stories of overnight success or sudden breakthroughs that seem to happen out of nowhere, whether it's a business that skyrockets to fame or a person who seems to achieve everything effortlessly. It's easy to believe that success comes in big moments or dramatic shifts. However, when we look closer at these stories, we often find that these moments of success are the result of years of consistent, often unnoticed work. They are built upon the foundation of small steps taken over time. Those who achieve success are not necessarily those who take huge risks or make grand moves. They are those who commit to small actions day in and day out, trusting that these small steps will lead them to where they want to go. The beauty of small steps is that they compound. The truth is, no one wakes up and achieves their dreams in one giant leap. Success doesn't happen in an instant. It happens slowly, steadily, and consistently. Every small step you take, every action you commit to builds upon the last. Over time, these small efforts accumulate, creating momentum and propelling you toward your larger goals. The key is recognizing that each small step, even if it doesn't feel significant in the moment, is part of the bigger picture, the long-term transformation that will eventually unfold. Think about it. When you plant a seed, you don't see the fruit right away. The seed goes into the ground and it takes time for it to sprout, grow, and eventually bear fruit. But that doesn't mean the seed isn't working. It's still doing something, even when you can't see it. The same is true for your goals. Every small effort you make, every decision you stick to is like planting a seed. You might not see the results immediately, but if you continue to nurture that seed with consistent action, eventually it will grow into something bigger than you ever imagined. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to become discouraged when results don't come immediately. We live in a time where instant gratification is the norm, where we can get anything we want with the click of a button, and where social media shows us the highlight reels of other people's successes. We see the end product, the finished business, the perfect physique, the dream life, without seeing the hard work, the late nights, and the small steps that made it all possible. This disconnect can make us feel like we're not doing enough, like we're not moving fast enough, or like we're falling behind. But the truth is, it's the small steps that matter. It's the daily, often mundane actions that will eventually lead to the transformation you're seeking. In the beginning, those small steps may seem insignificant, writing 1 page a day, working out for 20 minutes, saving a small amount of money each week. None of these actions seem like they'll lead to anything monumental. But when you take these small actions consistently, over time, they add up. Think about it. If you wrote 1 page a day for a year, you would have written 365 pages by the end of the year. If you worked out for just 20 minutes a day, you would have spent more than 120 hours exercising by the end of the year. Small actions compounded over time lead to extraordinary results. The key is sticking to those actions even when they don't feel like they're making a difference in the moment. One of the challenges people face when working toward their goals is the tendency to compare themselves to others. We look at someone who has already achieved what we want and think, why aren't I there yet? We forget that their success didn't happen overnight. It was built upon years of small steps, of consistent work, of dedication to the process. It's easy to feel discouraged when you don't see immediate progress, but the reality is that the small steps you're taking right now are building the foundation for your future success. No one starts at the top. Everyone starts somewhere. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is the commitment to continue taking those small steps even when they don't see the immediate results. There's also something deeply powerful about the process of taking small steps. It builds resilience. When you commit to showing up every day, no matter how small the action is, you develop a mindset that values consistency and perseverance. You learn to trust the process, to believe that progress is happening even when it's not immediately visible. Small steps teach you patience, a quality that is essential for long-term success. If you're only focused on the end result, you'll be disappointed by the time it takes to get there. But when you embrace the journey and the small steps along the way, you start to enjoy the process itself. You realize that success is not a destination, but a journey. And every small step you take is a victory in itself. Small steps also help you avoid burnout. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when you think about the enormity of a goal. Whether it's writing a book, starting a business, or getting in shape, the task can seem daunting when you look at the big picture. But when you break the goal down into smaller, manageable steps, it becomes less intimidating. And instead of focusing on the entire mountain you need to climb, you focus on taking one step at a time. This makes the process feel more achievable and less overwhelming. It's much easier to stay motivated when you know that you're not expected to do it all at once. Small steps give you the space to move at your own pace, to celebrate small wins, and to stay consistent over time. One of the most powerful aspects of small steps is that they create a sense of momentum. When you take action, no matter how small, it creates movement. That movement builds upon itself, and before you know it, you've gained significant progress. This momentum is crucial because it makes it easier to continue taking action even on days when you don't feel like it. Momentum propels you forward, and the more you build, the harder it becomes to stop. When you take small steps every day, you create a snowball effect. The more you do, the more you want to do, and as your momentum grows, so does your confidence. The small wins begin to accumulate, and you start to believe in your ability to achieve your bigger goals. In addition, taking small steps allows you to course correct along the way. Often, when we set big goals, we don't know exactly how we're going to get there. We may have a general idea, but the details are often unclear. When you focus on taking small steps, you give yourself the opportunity to learn, adjust, and improve as you go. Each step you take provides feedback. If something doesn't work, you can make changes. If something works well, you can build upon it. Small steps provide flexibility and allow you to pivot when necessary. The bigger your goal, the more room there is for trial and error. And the more important it is to be flexible and willing to adjust your approach. By focusing on small actions, you give yourself the space to grow, adapt, and refine your path as you go. The beauty of small steps is that they don't require perfection. You don't have to get everything right from the beginning. You don't have to have all the answers or know exactly how everything will turn out. What matters is that you take action, no matter how imperfect it may be. Small steps help you embrace progress over perfection. They teach you that it's okay to make mistakes, to stumble, and to learn along the way. The key is to keep moving forward, even when you don't have all the answers. Every small step you take is a step closer to your goal, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. As you continue to take small steps, you will begin to see the bigger picture take shape. Your progress will become more visible, and you will realize that the small efforts you've been putting in are adding up in ways you couldn't have predicted. The transformation you've been working toward will start to materialize, and you'll look back with amazement at how far you've come. But none of that would have been possible if you hadn't committed to those small steps in the first place. Small steps lead to big results. And the key is to trust in the process and keep going one step at a time.